Diamandola and Aram by Mildred Thompson-Olson. Introduction. For those who have not read my book Diamandola, this brief summary of it will help the reader better understand Diamandola and Aram. Diamandola was born March 24, 1894 to Theodora and Elijah Kinaides. Her parents were Greeks living in 𝔸𝕟'𝕤, Turkey, a town almost 150 miles west of Ankara. She was a very frail child physically, but God gave her an exceedingly brilliant mind. When she was only a few months old, she was baptized into the Greek Orthodox Church. Soon after that, some relatives, including her father Elijah and sisters Alexandra, 15, and Susanna, 13, became Protestants. Religious prejudices ostracized them from the community. They moved to Brusa, a town 100 miles southeast of Constantinople called Istanbul today. There, the family became Seventh-day Adventists, which complicated their lives still further. Mr. Kinaides was imprisoned for possessing Adventist literature. After his release, he became an invalid. The family was destitute, so Mother Theodora set up silk weaving looms in their house. Diamandola educated herself at home while weaving silk cloth, her textbooks propped up beside her loom. Beside the regular school subject, Diamandola mastered the Armenian, Greek, Turkish, and English languages through self-taught grammar books. The church utilized Diamandola's gift for languages when she was only 13. Elder 𝔸𝕟'𝕤 made an extended missionary journey throughout Turkey using little Diamandola as his translator. 3 years later, 1910, she spent several months translating for Elder Greaves in Greece and Albania. Diamandola had only 3 years of formal education when she graduated from the American High School in Brusa in 1912. That summer, the Levant Mission in Constantinople hired her as the translator and secretary. She improved her evenings by learning French and German, making a total of 6 languages in which she was now fluent. When her father died in 1913, Diamandola moved her mother to Constantinople, where she could care for her. At the mission, Diamandola met and became engaged to Ares, a young minister. The next year, the mission sent him to preach in Greece, where he died in 1916 of tuberculosis. In the meantime, Diamandola was arrested for sending out quote-unquote propaganda. The Adventist literature Diamandola had sent throughout Turkey contained biblical references to Christ's second coming, which had absolutely nothing to do with World War I nor the political situation. Diamandola was imprisoned and forced to represent herself before the judgment bar of Bedri Bey, the cruel chief of security in wartime Turkey. With the Bible in her hand and an angel by her side, Diamandola bore witness for her faith in Jesus. In the hushed courtroom, many were almost persuaded to believe in Jesus. Bedri Bey set Diamandola free. Diamandola made her third missionary journey throughout Turkey with Elder Fratiger during the winter of 1915 and 1916. Their purpose was to ease the suffering of the Christians being deported by the Turkish government. They brought food, clothing, and money to the deportees on their death march into Syria. Most of the Adventists, along with 1 million other Christians, perished in the genocide. In 1919, Diamandola was made secretary-treasurer for the Levant Union Mission, a very heavy responsibility for a 25-year-old. With the ministers and colporteurs either dead, deported, or imprisoned, the Erzbergers and Diamandola were swapped with work. During the reconstruction period following the war, Christian refugees started pouring back into Constantinople. At the mission, Erzbergers, Diamandola, and her mother Theodora worked around the clock caring for the pitiful wrecks of humanity who fell at their doorstep, their spirits needing to be rekindled and their bodies needing to be revitalized. One young mother infested with typhus died in Diamandola's arms. A few weeks later, Diamandola, weak from exhaustion and overexposure, came down with the disease and died. With intense sorrow, Mrs. Erzberger and Diamandola's mother prepared her body for burial. 6 hours later, Elder Charakian arrived. He looked down upon the still, stiff form of God's little warrior and realized that the mission had no one to replace her. Like Peter in the case of Dorcas, he knelt with the two ladies and prayed, "In the name of Jesus, I say unto you, arise." He was not surprised when God rewarded his faith by resurrecting Diamandola. By 1920, refugees coming from the interior of Turkey with no money and no place to go overran the mission offices. The mission workers did not feel that they could push the pathetic refugees into the street, so they gave them the temporary shelter inside the mission offices. But the mission work suffered. To provide a sanctuary for everyone, the mission rented Rameli Hisar, a huge rambling house with a garden on the outskirts of Constantinople. Here, the whole mission staff lived together with the orphans and refugees until papers for their immigration could be processed. Fortunately, Elder and Mrs. 𝔸𝕟'𝕤, who had fled to Egypt during the war, returned to Constantinople and relieved the 𝔸𝕟'𝕤s and Diamandola from some of the mission work. With the 𝔸𝕸𝕤 came Aram Ashot, an Armenian soldier in a Turkish army who had been captured and held as a prisoner of war for 3 years by the British Army. He also joined the mission staff. The extra help at the mission freed the 𝔸𝕟'𝕤s and Diamandola to attend the Seventh-day Adventist European Conference in Zurich, Switzerland. Aram fell in love with Diamandola when he first saw her in 1915, but she was engaged to Ares at the time. Now that Ares was gone, Aram pursued his interest in Diamandola. This did not escape the notice of Rameli Hisar household. When she returned from Europe, there seemed to be a conspiracy among them to get Diamandola interested in Aram. Was it working? The book takes over from here.